Hey, this is Jeff Bartles. Many of you who have ordered a mini Evel Knievel Stunt Cycle Ripcord Racer should be receiving them soon, so I wanted to create a quick top 10 video to cover the tips and tricks that I've learned using this toy over the past couple of weeks. First thing I want to talk about is using the ripcord. So this is the cycle, this is the ripcord. You get two of these with the bike. We fish this in underneath the axle on the back of the rear wheel, or underneath the rear wheel. And you can see as I pull this, it spins it up. Cameron Grubert had the best term for this. You want to find the sweet spot when you pull this ripcord. When you pull it, you want to be straight. You don't want to be pulling it in this direction or this direction. You don't want to be pulling it in this direction or this direction. You want to try and pull that straight out. Just as an example, I'm going to go ahead and pull. Now, when I pulled that, you heard a little bit of a grinding sound. That's because I didn't pull it exactly straight. And anytime you hear that grinding noise, it means you want to improve your technique a little bit. That grinding noise means you're starting to round off the teeth on the ripcord. What I found, for me, the most effective way to get the best pull each time is to feed this in, and then I come at this from underneath, so I'm kind of holding it in an underhand fashion. I'll hold the bike upside down when I pull, and then when I pull, if you're going to cheat this at all, I take and pull from this direction. That way I'm kind of forcing the teeth into the gear on the back wheel. So let me flip this over and I'll pull. There we go. You see no grinding sound. A perfect pull is going to be virtually silent. The only thing you'll hear is the back tire spinning. Tip number 2, jump from tabletop height. As I get older, it's easier for me to jump when I'm holding things that are waist high rather than having to get up and down off the ground. So I like to make things easy for myself. I will set up jumps on a pair of folding tables much like this, but you can also jump on a kitchen table, or you could jump on a kitchen island if you want to. I just find it easier to have an elevated jump area. Tip number 3, make sure the run-up area is level. If I put my level down, we can validate that the bubble is right there in the middle. Having a level takeoff area ensures that the bike will track right down the middle. Tip number 4, use an elevated launch area. This wedge was made out of cardboard. This is actually mat board used for framing, but works perfect. It's a nice heavy gauge cardboard. I created a wedge out of this because I have found that it's easier for me to release the bike in a downward direction than it is for me to release the bike in a forward direction. So I recommend elevating your launch area. Tip number 5, release the bike with 2 hands. For me, I've found that I can be much more accurate in my launch if I'm holding the bike much like this. When the tire's spinning up, I can simply push downward to get the bike to travel down the center of the lane. Tip number 6, apply sandpaper to the run-up area. This is 220 grit sandpaper. You can see my run-up in this case is about 4 feet long. I recommend having at least a 2-foot run-up because this gives the bike an opportunity to get up to speed. By using this sandpaper, it ensures that the grip is always the same, whether I'm jumping on the kitchen island or the kitchen table or on these folding tables. It just ensures that my grip is always constant. Tip number 7, use Windex or water to lubricate the launch area. Now, everybody pulls at a different speed. In the event you're really pulling fast and the back tire is spinning quickly, you may wonder why the bike isn't jumping that far. If when you watch the instant replay or the slow-mo from your iPhone, you may see that the motorcycle's riding a wheelie down the track. You may even see that it's acting squirrely as it goes down. That's because you've got too much grip. The way to resolve this is by getting a little bit of water or some Windex and just spraying down this area just a little bit, make the sandpaper wet. That will allow the tire to have a little bit of slippage such that it takes a little bit for it to hook up, and it'll prevent the motorcycle from doing a wheelie, and he'll track much better and he'll go much faster. Tip number 8, tape down your takeoff ramp. You can see this is the takeoff ramp that comes with the toy. I have taped this to the table with blue painter tape. I've also added a little sandpaper to it. But by having this firm to the table, it won't slip when Evel approaches and hits the takeoff ramp. Tip number 9, use poster board for the landing ramp. This is my landing ramp. You can see this is just a sheet of poster board. There's nothing underneath this. I have simply taped it with painter's tape at this end and this end. This is what provides cushion when the motorcycle lands. This cycle is very rigid. For that reason, it will bounce if it encounters anything firm like wood or table or cardboard or something like that. It will bounce almost like a super ball, which is kind of a good thing because this will create some spectacular wipeout footage, even better wipeouts than what we have with the larger stunt cycles. Having said that, using the poster board gives us enough cushion that will allow it to catch the bike and he'll be able to ride out the jump. Finally, tip number 10, add some sandpaper to the landing ramp. This is also 220 grit sandpaper. It's 2 full sheets that I've taped to the poster board. I put this down because the regular poster board is a little bit slick, and you'll find when you see the bike jump, on occasion he'll oscillate back and forth when he's in the air. And I found that when he comes down, if he happens to be leaning at all, if this is a slick surface, he'll slide it out. By having the sandpaper on there, it will give him a little bit more grip, and sometimes it'll cause him to go back up vertical so he can ride out the jump. So those are my top 10 tips and tricks using the new Evel Knievel Ripcord Racer. I hope you enjoy your stunt cycle. I know I'm enjoying mine. What other tips and tricks can you come up with?